Shalom, everyone. I want to talk about the crab mentality. Not crab of nonsense, but crab. This animal. It's a sea creature with 8 legs. Oh, am I wrong? Let me see. One, two, three, four. Yes, around 8, maybe 10 legs. But this creature, there's eight. It has 8 legs and two of those scissor arms. When you pick this animal on the beach and you place it in a bucket, the crab by nature and by instinct will do whatever it can to get out of the bucket because the crab realizes this is an unnatural environment. The crab by instinct knows that he is designed by the Most High to roam and to hang around and explore the seas and the oceans. So when you pick up a crab and you put it in a bucket of water, yes, it's a sea creature. So, yes, it is in water, but the crab will realize that something is wrong and he will do whatever he can to get out. Crabs are also social creatures because they also operate in groups. Okay, human beings are social beings also, social creatures also. But now, hold on, let me go to crab in buckets. I'm trying to show something to you. Let's say you put a bunch of crabs in a bucket. Like, for example, here. There's a lot of crabs in a bucket, right? And there's very little water in here, very little water in here. But you get the idea. Oh, here you have a better example. You have water and you have the crabs in it. When you put a collective of crabs in a bucket, you see, because of the collective atmosphere, the crabs will get used to the environment, even though the environment is not natural to their design. And what happens when one of the crabs want to leave, one of the others uses their scissor arms to grab that crab and drag him down again. Then another crab wants to leave, and the same happens. And this goes on and on and on. So, what's going on? The crab realizes this is evil. This is not how I'm supposed to operate. This is not how my existence is supposed to be. So the crab will do whatever it is in its power to leave. The others want to keep the crab down in the minster together with them. Now you may think, okay, these are crabs, Rashid. Those are not human beings. You see, crabs don't have brains as humans. They act only by instinct. So it's natural. No, it's not natural for crabs to remain in a bucket, but you cannot expect a crab to behave any better. You cannot expect a collective of crabs to do any better, Rashid. I agree with you. You can't. They are creatures. Animals only operate by instinct. Okay? They don't have the higher spiritual understanding to think about their actions, to think about their environment, and to look deeper. They don't have it. That's why in the animal realm, wild animals tend to hunt, but they only hunt when they need it. So they operate by instinct. When they need something, they go hunt and they grab it. They kill an animal, they eat it, and that's it. And the carcass remains. You see, animals cannot sin because they don't have the spiritual understanding and the spiritual capacity that humans and angelic beings have. So, Rashid, humans will never do that, right? Now, that's a delusion, you see, because what you witness with crabs in a bucket, you witness it everywhere. I mean, okay, let me give a few examples here. Let's say you have a ghetto. And a ghetto does not have to be only black people. We also have white ghettos, Chinese ghettos. But okay, let's take for example Brazil. You have a ghetto near Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. You have a community, a village of 600 people. Almost everyone knows each other. At school, everyone knows who is. And in the ghetto, there's a lot of drug dealing, there's prostitution, and all of that. Let's say you have one girl who is good in mathematics and she wants to become a stewardess. Now, no, none of the women that were born in that village became a stewardess. You see, none even had those ambitions. The reason she wanted to become a stewardess was because when she was a little child, there was a tourist that came by, and the tourist told her about his country. And she realized, hold on a minute, I can travel to other countries. So she realized by that encounter there's more to life, more to my existence than just this. Okay? So the girl does well at school. She graduates high school and now she wants to leave town in order to go to the big city to become a stewardess. Well, when she wants to leave, you have all kinds of negative comments coming at her. You have family members begin to attack her, accusing her that she thinks that she's everything. Also, friends turn against her, and she decides, I'm leaving anyway. She goes ahead and she finishes her studies and she's a stewardess. After about 3 years, when she returns home, nobody wants to talk to her. Everyone is, let me understand this. Nobody wants to talk to her, but they pretend as if they're okay with her. So she faces her old family members and old friends, but later she finds out they're talking behind her back. Some are accusing her, some are wants to hit her, harm her. Now, what happened? Now, you had a collective in a negative atmosphere, but because a village is a social construct, it's not a natural construction, okay? But okay, there's nothing wrong with building a village. However, then negativity, the negative expectation of the village were toxic. Now, one of the members of that community wanted to leave because they don't want to share in the toxicity. Now, the other members of that community could also leave. Those 500 people could easily move to the city and have another life. But no, they want to hold on to their emotional attachment. They are emotionally attached to the negativity of that environment. And when someone leaves that environment, it's an evidence that it's a negative environment. See, but they don't want to face reality. They don't want to take responsibility and become vulnerable. That's why they all come with all kinds of excuses why they cannot leave that environment. So when someone amongst them leaves the environment and things go well with them, it's let me say it's going to be embarrassing for them. It's going to be let me say a reproof and rebuke onto them. So that's why when they know that someone wants to leave, they try to grab them. Or let me say, with humans, it's a little bit more intense, this dynamic, okay? Let's say you have a group of, um, let's say you have a society where you have a lot of immigrants, but become, you know, immigrants never reach the high salaries in the community. Why? Because the native population, it can be let me say, you have a European country, and the indigenous white population, you know, they never it's known amongst them that they don't tolerate migrants becoming too successful. Why? Because they have a prejudice that migrants are lazy and criminal. However, let's say that one day there's a migrant amongst them that finishes college, starts his own business, and becomes wealthy. Not a multimillionaire, but he reaches the top of 2 million euros, for example. Not by joining a club, but just by his effort. What now happens is all the other natives of that country will become embarrassed because they always were thinking migrants are this, migrants are that, but now you have a migrant who's not criminal and not lazy, so they become convicted. So whatever happens now, they will accuse the successful migrant that he's a criminal. They will come with false charges. They will do whatever they can to break down that individual so that they won't have to be convicted by the existence of that individual. You see, guys, this dynamic is common in the world. Or let me say better, the world exists out of this thing over here. And don't get me wrong here. I'm not accusing people nor pointing fingers at people. I'm just pointing out reality to you. Many people will attack you, they will harass you, some will even attempt to murder you. Why? because they do not want to be convicted. They have built this illusionary world, this delusion they're holding on to, and they will protect this delusion no matter what, at all costs. Why? Well, let me say it like this. Let's say you have a guy that was born in a single parent household because the mother used to sleep around with other men, and she had a few children outside of wedlock, and now people are talking about her. And then you have the other families where the parents are both legally married. So that woman is always pointed out as a bad example, and her kids also. The kids have nothing to do with her decisions, but the kids are also associated with her. Therefore, the kids are also a bad influence. Let's say one of those children learns a few foreign languages, begins to travel around, while most of those other families, those kids only have a 9 to 5 job and that's it. Let's say something like this happens. What happens now is that one kid that grew up begins to travel around. Well, that kid has moved on. He left the negative environment. The thing is, the people that remained in the negative environment, they are offended, they feel attacked, and the thing is, they don't want to let go of their stupid judgment. They don't want to let go of their crap. So now they will have to live their whole lives being convicted and being faced with their own guilt. Guilt, why? Because they are operating in darkness and they don't want to feel bad about themselves. So they prevent themselves from feeling bad about themselves and prevent that they are forced to make changes in their lives. They are willingly to sacrifice the individual that moved on. Some will even try to become friends with that individual to keep in touch, just to get close enough in order to do something to them. You get what I'm saying here? Look, this is why the Most High makes clear that you should not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. Because listen, someone that operates in unbelief, and I'm not talking about ignorance around here. You have people that grew up with who have almost no knowledge of the Most High nor about the spiritual realm. They are ignorant. Okay? And they're ignorant, and sooner or later they will recognize they are ignorant. And they'll be faced with the reality that they need to grow in an understanding. So I'm not talking about those people here. I'm talking about people who willfully reject new revelations. They persist in ignorance, and because they don't want to grow. Willful ignorance. That's unbelief. Unbelief is a willful rejection and a personal attack on the Most High because why? You want to preserve a delusion. People that operate in unbelief, they operate in accusation, they operate in malignity, they operate in slander, they operate in harassment, they operate in all of that. Listen, people that operate in unbelief, there is no evil they're not capable of doing. There is no evil they're not capable of doing. And people that operate in unbelief, they've chosen to hold on to a little box. Everything must be explained by that little box. Everything outside of the box they deny. So, for example, if you were sexually molested, for example, and you have scars in your life, they will always say it's your own fault. Why? Because according to their box, you are responsible for everything that happens to you. It's a very absurd statement, but they hold on to it. So now they will victimize you further to hold on to that box. You see, light and darkness cannot have anything in common. As human beings, you may have in common that you wear the same type of shoes, that you live in the same place, that you need water and food to keep your body alive. Those are common human things you will have in common with other people. But besides that, you cannot have anything in common if you are operating by faith, that you cannot be deeply involved with people that persist in darkness. If someone is ignorant, it's a different case. Because when they are ignorant but open to learn, then they can, when they are, because look, let's imagine this. Let's imagine that you have a donkey and an ox. The body of a donkey, or The body of an ass, as they would say in Old English, is very different than the body of an ox. An oxen can carry, can pull the weight of a cargo. A mule, or I'm saying a donkey, cannot. So if you have let me say like this, a donkey may be able to pull a small package, but not a whole cargo. So if you want to transfer a cargo on a long distance, that you need to have two bulls, two or more oxen you need in order to do it. You cannot put two donkeys because they will get tired, they will get sick, because they're not designed to carry a cargo. They're only designed to carry small packages. You see, so that's what the body can do. But if you put two donkeys with a small package, it will work. If you put two oxen with a cargo, it will work. But if you put a bull and a donkey together, it's a disaster. You see? So that's what I want to share with you, and realize that some folks just never will they will never repent. They will never let go of their toxic statements, and realize that you will be targeted when you follow Christ. When you operate by faith, you will be targeted. So expect it. That being said, I hope this video has helped you, has given you insight. May the grace of Christ Jesus be with you, and shalom.